James Franklin was saying a couple of minutes ago that he kind of recalled a little bit earlier in your career where you were almost lobbying with him, saying, "Hey, I can do this. I'm more than a fullback, more than a special teams player." What do you remember about kind of those conversations where you were maybe trying to sell the staff on yourself?
Yeah, that was when I was playing fullback, which really meant I was playing tight end, and I was competing with Mike and Kyle Carter and Jesse James, and those guys are like titans, and I'm 6 foot, 230 at that point in time. So I knew my prospects of getting on the field on offense were very limited, and I knew I could play a linebacker. So I talked to Coach Pry, I talked to Coach Franklin. Probably once a week, every other week, I'd be up in one of their offices, telling them I can do this. I'm not pulling your leg or anything like that. And I was thankful to have guys like Ben Klein or Naeem Wortman, who were older guys who were there while I came in as a linebacker, and they kind of vouched for me, and I appreciate them because ultimately, they let me switch, and I'm really thankful for that opportunity because who knows if they probably might have cut me if I stayed at tight end. So just thankful for that opportunity.
Brandon, any younger linebackers in your room that you've kind of taken under your wing, or can you speak to maybe one or two of them, that you've seen really grow from camp to where they are now?
Yeah, I think one guy in particular that impressed me was Ellis Brooks. He didn't always, obviously coming from high school to college, there's a big difference in what the playbook looks like, and so he didn't always know what he was doing scheme-wise, but he did a great job of running to the ball, and you'd always see him at the ball and get there quickly. And then as the season progressed, he did a great job working on his fundamentals, on his key reads, and learning the defense. And he's a guy that I think is going to have a big role on this team in the future. And there's other guys too. I could list a couple, but as far as one that has really stood out to me, I think Ellis is doing the right thing.
Brandon, could you flip it around and tell us some of the scout team offensive players who may stick out to you, and how much of an appreciation do you have for those guys, knowing what you've probably done in that regard earlier in your career?
Yeah, we really appreciate the guys on the scout team. They've been giving us really good looks this year, and I think it's probably been the most competitive scout team offense I've seen since I've been here. And Journey Brown, guy who's incredibly fast, and watching him in those 3 and 4 scrimmages we've had, making a lot of nice tough runs, and I've had to cover him in scout periods, man to man, and he's a fast guy, and it makes you really make sure you have your fundamentals figured out, and proper leverage and things like that. And C.J. Brown and Desmond Holmes on the line, they've been doing really good stuff, getting movement and getting to the second level. In the past, a lot of times it's hard to get a clear look because the offensive line's just getting blown up so quickly by our D line. But those are two guys that stick out to me that have been able to at least stand their ground or even get movement sometimes. And both two guys, I think, have a bright future.
Two things. Easy one first. You were selected a Mackey semifinalist. What does that mean to you?
I think one of 8 people on the list. So, definitely, honored to be in the company of those players and all that kind of stuff. It was funny. I had no idea that I was even mentioned in it or whatever. And AB texted me this morning. He's like, "Welcome to the club, buddy." I'm like, "What club?" He's like, "The Mackey Club." I was like, "Don't ever text me and say that again." But obviously it's an honor, and something I worked for and all that kind of stuff, and wouldn't be there without my teammates and my coaches, and really appreciative of all that kind of stuff. But I'm a big believer in with team success comes individual recognition. So I'm excited for these last few opportunities, and we take care of business on Saturdays and all that kind of stuff. Everything else will take care of itself.
Do you hear from Adam a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
And the other thing on blocking, this
Yeah.
one's not quite so. Matt Millen got into you pretty good on the broadcast. Were you aware of that, one? And secondly, where are you in your blocking development? How much better do you realize you'll probably have to get for the next level?
I think I'm going to have to continue to improve in my blocking abilities. I think I'm more than willing to block. I think I've taken a bunch of steps forward in my blocking abilities. Something that I honestly take pride in. So I'm going to own everything that I put on film. Obviously, there's plays every single game that I would like back. But as far as a commentator ripping into me, it's going to take a lot more than a commentator ripping into me to kind of shut me down. I've received many other hurtful and disrespectful comments and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, the only critique that I'm worried about is coming from Coach Ronnie. So if Coach Ronnie wants to critique me and coach me up like he does each and every week, that's what I'm excited about, and just ready to get back to work today.
Mike, you told us last year that when you first met Joe Moorhead, he didn't know who you were.
Yeah.
Have you guys since rehashed that story? You brought that up to him recently?
I was actually joking around with him, a few weeks ago about how when he first got the job, I walked in and I was talking to Tommy, and I was like, who is this guy? I was like, we're bringing in, the head coach from Fordham. I was expecting like a big name guy and all this kind of stuff, and I was telling him that, and he was cracking up on the practice field when I was telling him, and then he came back at me and he's like, yeah, and then I was looking at the film and I was looking for a tight end that could catch the ball and this and that. So, me and him have gone back and forth. Me and Coach Moore have a great relationship, and I think that he is a huge reason to the success that I've had the past 2 seasons. Both in the run game and the pass game. Everything that the scheme that he's brought. I think it's kind of molded me into the player that I am. And I'm forever grateful for having him come here and be the offense coordinator.
What kind of teammate is Tommy Stevens, and what kind of impact does he have on the offense when he's able to see some playing time?
Tommy's a man. Obviously, being a backup quarterback, it's a tough role to handle, especially when you're as talented as Tommy is. But I think that he's handled that situation extremely well. Comes to practice every single day, and you would think he's the Heisman Trophy winner with the kind of the energy that he has and the confidence that comes from him and all that kind of stuff. So Tommy's an unbelievable teammate, and every time he comes on the field, especially in practice, he'll be like, all right, man, get out, it's my time to shine, get out. So because once he comes in, I come out, and if there's anybody on the team that I'd be happy with having 2 of my touchdown catches, it would be Tommy. So Tommy's gone in there and done a great job, whatever it's been, being a running back, being a quarterback, being a receiver, a tight end, an All-American decoy, whatever you want to call him. He's done a phenomenal job, and I think that whenever his time comes during his career as a college football player, I'm going to be his #1 fan. I'm excited for his future.